Hello, fellow YouTubers, and welcome back to Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. On the last episode, we started the final trial date. Gant took the stand almost immediately and then told us that Lana had something to say. Lana immediately confessed to everything and tried to give us up, but Edward didn't like that, so he called Emma to the stand as a way to try and get her to stop. So Emma testified a little bit about what happened 2 years ago, and we're about to start our cross-examination on that. So, let's see where this leads. We had the cross-examination last episode, so we want to go over to this statement right here, but I'll never forget what I saw that instant. She didn't say what, so let's press it. Can you tell us about that?
Mr. Marshall jumped in the dark. Just then, the lights went out.
The lights?
It was just about this time of year. There was a terrible storm going on, and lightning struck nearby.
So the electricity went out? I tried to make that sound like a question. It didn't come out that way. Wait a minute. If it was pitch dark in that room, you shouldn't have been able to see anything, right?
Right, but just then lightning flashed again outside. That sudden flash left an unforgettable image of the scene in my mind.
I see.
I told the detective about what I saw then.
The detective?
Yes, Detective Goodman. He was in charge of the case.
Detective Bruce Goodman, the victim. Hear more or stop? Well, we want to hear more. So you spoke with Detective Goodman about this 2 years ago.
Yes, that's what's so scary about this trial.
And you told Detective Goodman about what you saw.
Yes, but at the time the words just wouldn't come out. That's why I drew a picture.
A picture? Yes, I think she mentioned that before. Well, Mr. Wright, have you heard enough? Ask about the picture or stop. I want to know about more of that picture. This picture the witness drew. I believe it has a very important meaning. But the list of evidence I was given 2 years ago didn't contain a picture. Witness, would you mind if we had added the statement to your testimony? Thank you, Judge.
Yes, Your Honor. I drew a picture of that scene once, but it seems they've been lost.
That's not true! Well, technically, at the moment, we don't know that's true, but if we go to our evidence, and we look at the evidence list, if we take a look at this, since we haven't, this is the evidence list that we got from Gant's desk, so this one's been hidden for like 2 years. If we turn it around, hello! How do I get this, the face? There we go. A picture is drawn on the back of this evidence list in magic marker. It's a pretty good drawing for magic marker. She's got the shading all done. I've got a very bad feeling about this. Well, now that we know that's there, Mr. Edgeworth. This little girl put all her heart into drawing that picture. And yet you still insist on denying its existence? Huh? Hey, I'm not the bad guy. All I'm saying is that as the prosecutor for that case, I wasn't handed such a picture. That may well be. But that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Behold! This is the evidence list for the SL9 incident. Please turn it over, Your Honor. Turn it over? Turn it. Ah! What's this? Yes, what is that? I'm trying to make Edward seem surprised because he is.
Hey, that's it! That's the picture I drew!
Indeed. Two men appear to be wrestling here. What's the meaning of this? What are you doing with that list? Me? Only the prosecutor in charge should have access to that list. Huh. These lists, they're different from each other. What? It would appear, Mr. Edgeworth, that the evidence list you were handed 2 years ago was incomplete. These two lists fit together to form one. You can see the marks here where they're torn apart from each other. So you see, Mr. Edgeworth, it's quite obvious what happened. 2 years ago, only half of the evidence in the case ever reached you. What? What? Edgeworth sounds surprised. Order! Order! Who'd have thought the picture would have been drawn on the back of the list? God darn it. I need to wait till the sentences are done.
That was handed to Detective Goodman in the questioning room.
Wait a minute. If this list was torn in half, then that means... Your Honor! Are you all right, Mr. Wright? Your eyes are bulging from your head. If the evidence list was torn in half, then there might be more of the drawing on the back of Mr. Edgeworth's list. And they've never noticed this how? Yes, that's quite conceivable, Mr. Edgeworth. It's possible. Let's see. He seems upset. Is something wrong? Do you even have to ask? Sorry, Your Honor. There is something drawn on the back of my list. This is that thing. That's that thing. That thing that was dancing in the evidence room. Apparently the head of criminal affairs used this for his blueprint. He used an evidence list for his blueprint? Why didn't he just use a normal piece of paper? I guess he was out of scrap paper. Thank you, Phoenix. And it's been updated. So now we have both halves of the list. Very well. Witness. Will you please testify about this picture you drew 2 years ago?
Huh? Oh, yes, sir, Your Honor.
What's wrong with Emma? She seemed to be thinking about something when she saw the picture. Uh-oh, that doesn't seem nice.
This is the picture I drew 2 years ago. The flash of lightning was so bright, all I could see were shadows. After that, I must have fainted. This picture shows exactly what I saw that instant.
To think a flash of lightning could burn such an image in your mind. Thanks to that, though, she was able to show us exactly what she saw. Well, I don't see any contradictions here. This clearly shows Joe Dark about to murder prosecutor Neil Marshall. The defense may now begin its cross-examination. Yeah, you don't have any right to say there's no contradictions. I'm the one that finds everything. So the cross-examination of Emma's picture. Now this is going to be very quick. We're going to go all the way to the last statement she made. Right here. This picture is exactly what I saw that instant. We're going to present something right now. Already. Something about this picture doesn't seem right. We're going to present Neil's autopsy report. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this picture the witness drew contains a blatant contradiction.
What? But I still remember it like it was just yesterday.
Mr. Wright, perhaps it would be faster if you simply pointed out this contradiction for us. What part of this picture contradicts the autopsy report? The thing about this picture that contradicts the autopsy report is this. The contradiction, of course, lies here. Take a look at the knife the man is holding. If you look closely, you can see its tip is broken. In fact, you don't even have to look closely to see that.
But, Mr. Wright, look at the evidence. See the murder weapon? Its tip is broken too.
If I recall, the tip of the knife was found broken off in the victim's body.
It was the conclusive piece of evidence that proved Joe Dark was the murderer.
I'm afraid it's not so simple, Emma. Huh? Where can you possibly see a problem? It's obvious, really. The victim suffered a single stab wound to the back. If the victim was only stabbed once, then the murder weapon should not yet be broken. Ah! What's the meaning of this? Perhaps the knife was broken beforehand. Sorry, but I'm afraid that's not possible. The tip of the knife was found inside the victim's body. If it was broken beforehand, it couldn't possibly wind up there. That's right, but what does this mean? The tip of the knife was undeniably discovered within the victim's body. The only possible explanation is the witness's memory is mistaken. That's why I asked her so many times if she was sure that she remembered correctly. I believe you were annoyed at the time. But she was sure she remembered correctly. But there's no other way to explain this inconsistency. Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. There is another explanation. Have you forgotten already about a little something called falsified evidence? You're treading on thin ice, right? All I'm saying is that this broken knife might be the piece of evidence that was forged. Oh god, I thought I was going to continue a little bit more. You can't deny the possibility. No. Ugh! Order! 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 Are you saying the investigation really was corrupted? Your Honor, please allow me to once again go over the events that took place the day of the murder. The police department and the prosecutor's office were holding a ceremony that day. After receiving the King of Prosecutors Award at the ceremony, Neil Marshall questioned Joe Dark along with Damon Gant. During his questioning, Joe Dark fled the room. Prosecutor Marshall chased after him and was killed by Dark. It is my belief that somewhere in the story, there is a lie.
I'm not lying. The man really was holding up a broken knife.
If that's true, then there's no other way around it. This could not have been the actual murder weapon. There must have been another broken knife. What are the chances of there being two broken knives? Another broken knife besides Joe Dark's. Could there have been one? Emma's mistaken, or there is another one. I think this is the perfect place to call this an episode. I like cliffhangers. Actually, you know what? Let's continue a little bit. Just a little bit. And pick the correct answer here. Nope, never mind. We are going to call it an episode now. Next episode will be a little longer than normal, but it's fine. So, on the next episode of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, we'll be picking the correct answer here and continuing on with the court case. So, until next time, hopefully you enjoy. Which is actually funny because in Mass Effect 2, if you romance Tali, you can actually see her unmasked in that game. You can also actually see her unmasked this game if you romance Tali. And by unmasked, I mean not as a character, but as a picture, which was a little upsetting. No way. Especially since it's a Photoshopped stock image picture. This is just going to lead us all the way back around. Yep, that's going to connect back over with this side.